Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build products and recover from burnout. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we figure things out. Today is March 31st, and I feel a lot of momentum.
This is episode number 84, and I'm devastated.
Okay, I see your notes, but we got to talk about this.
Yeah. I don't even, to be honest, I don't really know how to talk about it. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, probably should just tell what happened. So 2 days ago, 11 p.m. in the evening, about to go to bed, making the mistake to check my email again, as usual. Nothing ever happens when you do that. Nothing good ever happens. And we got an email from our lessor, or the person who's renting our home to us, with a vague statement like, "Hey, we need to talk. Can I come over tomorrow?" And we're like, "Yeah, okay." And yeah, so the day after, we tried like emailing back and forth a little bit to figure out like what time and where to meet. And like she didn't say anything what this was about in the beginning, and we were already like, this is unusual.
Yeah.
So we tried to get it out of her. And she stayed pretty vague for a long time. Like in the next image was like, yeah, it's a difficult topic to talk about. And we're like, oh shit, yeah. And in the end, we got confirmation from her. And then when she came over, like we got all the paperwork, is that she's terminating our lease of the house because she's planning to move in herself.
Okay, man.
So now we're...
So now you're scrambling for a place to... Yeah.
We've got 3 months to figure something out and move.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. Like, I'm
so sorry.
Yeah, as you can figure, like my productivity is down the drain. Like,
well, yeah, because now all of your focus has to be on where am I going to live.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still getting a little bit of stuff done, but like staying focused for longer periods is like almost impossible.
Yeah,
we didn't sleep well the last 2 nights. Basically since that email, because of course you start to worry if it's like an email like that. So I've got a headache. I feel like crap, and it just sucks. Like we really like this place, and thinking about it just is very obvious. Like I think one of the things that made like the pandemic and like all the stresses and almost burnout kind of bearable was like knowing that it's okay. You've got a nice place to stay. Like you enjoy just like being at home. Like you don't even need a vacation because like house is nice enough to just stay in there for 2 weeks and do nothing and just like sit outside in the sun or whatever, or just go for a quick walk because like the surroundings are nice. And even last night in bed, just like noticing that it's really quiet out here was kind of nice. So it's just a bummer.
How long have you been in that place?
It's almost exactly 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. So good little while.
Yeah. And
good while. What's the market like around there?
The
renting market. Yeah.
Like both the renting market and the buying market are a mess. Like it's definitely a seller's market or a lesser market or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people looking, and yeah, it's definitely not easy. And will be a challenge, but we have no choice.
Man, that's a tough one.
So,
pretty big blindside.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like we had our parents, like my parents over last weekend, and had a good time, like barbecuing some pizza and going for walks. And like we talked a couple of times about how nice it is around here, and just like how nice it is to have this home. And we cleaned up, like we did some spring cleaning and like finally figured a nice organizational system for the kitchen last week. and it feels like
Oh,
this was all for nothing.
yeah, man,
So I don't know.
that stinks.
Also, moving sucks. Like just like the
Oh,
process of
yeah,
moving.
the worst. The worst.
uh, so yeah, that's what's going on around here right now. I think we're slowly starting. Like yesterday, after talking to her, it it felt so surreal. Like it's not even,
Mhm.
it hasn't even fully sunken in yet. Um, but I guess now, like today, it's starting to, okay, like let's start looking, let's start
Yeah,
messaging people, let's start booking viewings and stuff like that. We actually have a viewing tomorrow already.
cool. Yeah,
Not super excited about the place, but I mean, get the momentum going, I guess, and
yeah,
just like get into the groove, and yeah,
yeah.
because yeah, 12 weeks isn't a long time, as you
No.
probably know.
Yeah. Yes, I think in 8 weeks, I'll also be moving, Benedict.
Yeah.
That was by choice, though, so
Yeah, I
way
talked
different,
about this.
way different.
Friend mentioned this. He was like, um, "Yeah, like moving is kind of nice. Like you get to start fresh and stuff like that, and get a new experience. Maybe it's even a better place and stuff like that."
Yeah.
And I kind of agree. Like it's the change sometimes is helpful, but
Yep.
doing it on your own terms at your own
Yes,
pace
exactly. That's what I was gonna
is
say.
kind of the critical
Yeah.
part of this.
Yes, it is, it is. Moving can be a fresh start. Moving can be an opportunity,
Yeah,
to change things, but y you know, usually you get to decide on it. So,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, but it sounds, yeah, it sounds like you're at least feeling some sense of the upward curve toward.
Uh,
No, not at all?
Not yet, not
Not at
yet.
all. Okay.
But I guess that's why we decided to basically get going with this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, chances are high, like well, I don't know. There's a chance that we'll like find a nice place or like look at nice places and at least start thinking about living somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like right now, it feels like why? Like this.
No, yeah.
I mean, this place isn't perfect, but it's super nice, and
It works.
we
Yeah,
like it, and
it's
it works. And but I guess like just getting into more places and maybe just being in one or two other places that could work as well will help with like just accepting that, yeah, we can
yeah,
do this and we can move
yeah.
somewhere else.
Being able to being able to visualize
Yeah,
the
yeah,
the solution helps a lot with getting
yeah.
over resignation and acceptance, I think.
I hope so too. It will still be tough. Like it couldn't be, well, things can always be worse, but it feels like it's one of the worst times to start looking for houses. Like
Mm,
there seems to be a third wave of COVID infections around here. Numbers are skyrocketing again. They talk about closing stuff down again. So we
uh,
might not even be able to visit
to
other
see the place
apartments
in
and like see
person. Yeah,
places and stuff like that. So that
yeah.
might be a major challenge. And then with like earlier this year, Jane and I reduced our salaries a bit. Like this
Mm,
one's going to bite me
right,
now
right.
because uh, I guess it's the same everywhere, but around here, like usually when you try to rent a place, they want to see like your last
Yeah,
3 or 4 paychecks or something like that,
yeah.
and they don't care about your savings. Like I could
No,
probably,
I know, that's the most annoying thing in the world.
yeah, like we could pay like months in advance
Yep.
and it wouldn't like be a problem, but they don't care. Like it doesn't
Okay.
matter. And they just care about your most recent paycheck. And unfortunately, that one is rather small in recent weeks
Yeah,
and months. So
right.
it
Most
feels
especially
like,
relative to your actual earning potential. I mean, you're
yeah,
self-employed right now,
yeah,
and you willingly took a pay cut earlier. The whole picture of the story is you are extremely employable, you have a really high upside, but,
yeah,
in this current month to
Yeah.
a lender or a landlord, lessor, whatever you call him. Oh gosh, it's just so frustrating to
Yeah.
be self-employed and
Yeah.
to so, I'm sorry, man. That is a crummy, crummy, crummy situation. I'm sorry to hear it.
Yeah. I guess I keep everyone updated on this over the next couple of weeks. I have a feeling this will be a major part
Yes.
of my life for the
Yeah,
foreseeable future.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, it's what it is. We can only hope that something
Well,
good will come out of it eventually. Um,
mhm.
yeah.
Well, if anybody listening knows of an amazing place for rent in Darmstadt, Germany.
Yeah, hit me up. I'd be super interested in hearing about it.
Hey, I have an idea, Benedict. What if instead you move into an RV and drive around Germany for a year?
Yeah.
Is that an
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's do
talk
it.
about this with Catherine for a while, but I have my doubts that this will work for us.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I have my doubts that this is going to work for me. So, I mean, you still I'm
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, in a way, I kind of there's something to it, but I have
Yeah,
a feeling that it's not the right time to do
no,
this for us.
no, no, I'm
Not that
totally
we wouldn't like traveling and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
with so many things going on around here, um, it would be nice to have some stability in some aspect.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that stability is um, currently crumbling and getting away. But I have hopes that we'll figure it out and
For
then
sure.
be back to somewhat stable afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Stability, yeah. Pillars of stability when there's some major uncertainty in
Yeah,
in your life feels pretty good. Well,
yeah.
I mean, just so despite that, I mean, were you able to anything work-wise, update-wise with user lists that you have to share?
Yeah, I on Monday, like I still had a productive day, and I was able to do some digging on our database performance. Not sure if I mentioned it last week, but I noticed that the metrics show that yeah, the database is on the high load again, and we have to figure something out. Um, again, had a chat with the nice guys from PG Mustard, and they recommended a few things. Um, and yeah, basically, I was able to improve performance a bit by introducing a new index in one of our biggest tables, and that solved most of the issues for now.
Yep.
But in the process, I like they suggested a couple of nice things, like a potential improvements. One of them was like right now we're mostly using B tree indexes on the database, which is like the
Using what?
a B tree, binary tree indexes. It's like the default index type of most databases.
Huh?
I don't know. Binary trees is like the thing you learn in computer science classes.
Yeah, of which
Um,
I had none. Yeah.
anyways, that's how the database basically speeds up the lookup process.
Okay.
And Postgres has a couple different like additional index types, and one of them is uh, a GIN index. I think it's generalized invertible index or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's supposed to work relatively well with like columns with unstructured data like text, like for full text search and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like in our case like the JSON blobs we're storing for like all the user properties and event properties, and at least for like checking if there's a subset of a particular subset of the properties is in the database, those indexes can help. And because like our events table and looking up stuff in that events table by like event name, date when it occurred, as well as
Mhm.
like properties attached to the event, that's like our one of our main bottlenecks. So the hope was to just create one of those like gin indexes across like all these columns. And at least in my understanding, this should have sped up like stuff like crazy because it doesn't need to get to the disk to do most of the lookups.
Yep.
But for some reason, it didn't work at all. So I
That's
tried that.
disappointing.
Yeah, that I tried. Like, so I introduced a new B-tree index, and that partly solved the problem. I sped things up by four times, 4x,
Mhm.
um, which was kind of nice. But my hope was that this new index type and like basically putting everything that we ever query in this index meshed together, store it in memory, would like speed up things ridiculously, like
Yeah.
to other levels. Problem was the query that I tested this with, like with the slightly optimized setup, took like 6 seconds, sometimes 10 seconds. The other one with the new index type took at least an hour. That's when I stopped the query.
Whoa.
So I don't understand databases. Like I have no idea what's happening.
Oh,
Like I tried to run the explain analyze to get like an explanation of what the database was doing on that query,
yeah,
but as I
yeah.
said, like it didn't return anything for an hour. So eventually I decided, okay, whatever
That's
it's doing,
that's
it's definitely not
not gonna
working.
work. Yeah. Yeah.
And the problem is like you can also run like regular explains that just like analyze the query and do some planning and then tell you, hey, I'm looking at this query and this is what I'm planning to do. And
Mhm.
these are the processes and steps that I'm about to take. And looking at that, it doesn't look like it's off. Like it tells me, hey, I'm going to use this new great mega index you created. And I'm using all the filter values in there. And then I hopefully get a result and then present it to you. But
Yeah.
for some reason, it when it tries to run that and do that, like execute that plan, it just takes forever, and I have
Just
no
doesn't
idea
do
why.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
really wish I could help, but I am certain that I cannot. Okay, just but, uh, I'm making fun of myself, but just for real for a second here. So an indexing a database table, that basically what that means is that you're taking all of that content and storing it in memory so that when you need to query it, you don't hit the disk, you hit memory, and it's nearly well, it's supposed to be extremely fast, right?
Yeah, sort of. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be in memory, but it's definitely like it's basically a way to compress like the lookup space or like the search space
Mhm.
into a smaller chunk so you can like yeah find them quicker in a way. Um,
And so then why wouldn't I just index every single table in my database?
like every value in every table.
Yes. Why would I not just go ahead and do that and then eat whatever storage cost?
I don't think that would work. Like, um, I mean, at some point, it's the same data. So just building a lot of indexes for what? I mean, maybe it would actually be smaller. I don't really know. But like just maintaining indexes, like
Mhm.
when you write a row to the table, you have to basically update all the indexes for
Yep.
that table, so that also slows down writing
Okay,
speed and stuff like that.
okay.
So that's
So
one reason to not do it. And then, I guess if you just index everything, you end up with something of similar size than the original table that doesn't fit into memory anymore. That you then
yes.
still read
Okay.
from disk. So I'm not sure you'd gain anything from
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So then the reason I would not just index everything is that the performance gains I'm getting by indexing a database table would be lost when everything is in there. And so strategically I need to look through and see which tables and which relationships between tables because can I create an index based off of a database table relationship?
Yeah, that's absolutely
Yes.
what you should do,
That is
like at
absolutely
all
what we should do.
times.
Okay, cool. Like, that's the whole point, is not
Yeah.
to index 1 table, but to index a relationship between 2 tables so that you're not doing 2 lookups, you just do 1, and it's returns
Yeah.
extremely fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
basically everything that you're planning to search for a lot of times. And that's
Mm,
for one, it's like relationships or like foreign keys, because
yep,
whenever you want to get a list of all users that belong to a particular account, you will be accessing just like one column on the users table. So it
yeah,
makes sense to have an index for those. Problem is like with user lists, like with the filter builder and the query builder in the UI, like people can search for a lot of things in our tables.
yeah. So it's hard for you to know which relationships should I index and which ones are gonna
Yeah,
return
yeah,
certain things. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
And like added to that is like stuff like our like the JSON column we use for the basically the user properties and stuff like that, because
mhm,
it allows us to like store unstructured data, because everyone's using a different property names and stuff like that. Like the database doesn't really know a lot of things about those columns, so it's hard for the database to optimize the queries and like optimize even the indexes for this. So until recently, we didn't even try to index those and just relied on, hey, if we do a good enough job at like filtering by account, by name, by user, by date, then maybe the subset is small enough that reading the stuff from disk is okay.
mhm.
And that's definitely the case right now. Like that's why there's like small optimization by also like starting to index like the date the event happened on. That's why this one is working. But the dream would be to like do the entire lookup on the table via the index, and that didn't work.
Yeah. Mm. Well, good luck, man.
Yeah,
That's all
I
I have
at some point on
to
Monday I decided to shelve it, uh,
Yeah.
and
Come back
consider
with
it
fresh
for
eyes,
future
right, Noah?
improvement. But for
Yeah.
now, not worth spending more time on it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you come back with fresh eyes and see the see the solution.
Yeah, maybe like
Happens all the time. Yeah.
probably with this is like just building the index takes like couple minutes, so it's like a very
Yeah.
slow process.
Yeah. The cycle to test
Yeah, the test cycle
is
is
laborious. Yeah.
ridiculously slow.
Yeah.
And also just using a smaller data set doesn't really help either. Like then your index is fast, but you don't know.
But that's not
It
testing the
does it help
actual
in
problem.
production?
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yes, right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
well, whatever. Like database crisis averted for now. Like uh,
Mhm.
things up in flames anymore. So I guess we're good. Um, yeah, the only other exciting thing that happened last week was MicroConf Remote. And I have to
Yeah.
admit, I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I liked the gather.town platform.
Yeah, me too.
It is I will say by far it was the most enjoyable, like, online conference platform I've used yet.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And said this yesterday to a friend. MicroConf Remote was very close to a real conference in terms of the impact it has on your productivity and
Mm,
in terms of getting your stuff done. Because
mhm.
honestly, like last week from Tuesday to Thursday, I basically spent all my afternoons in Gather, just like
Yeah,
either attending the talks or just walking around, meeting people, talking to people, having
yep,
discussions.
yep,
It was a super fun experience. Like it really made me reconsider virtual conferences,
yep.
especially with like the lack of a hallway track, or a real in-person hallway track. It felt like it was the next best thing
I
possible in these times.
it did the best job of adding the surprising discoverability of, like, passing people. "Hey, what are you up to?" Or, hopping in on a conversation, what are y'all chatting about?" And, listen in for a little bit and, "Okay, excuse myself." Um, it felt more natural.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yep. What did you think about our slow and steady meetup?
Yeah, I have a feeling that this was a bit of a fail. Not in terms that nobody showed up, but I guess
Right.
too many
Right.
people showed up,
Right.
which is nice. And thanks for everyone
Yeah,
who
totally.
attended and was there. But I think it became very obvious very fast that while the platform is great, it's also very similar to a noisy bar at the end of a
Yeah.
conference with a
Yep.
hundred people in there.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
at some point, it just didn't work anymore because you
Well,
couldn't have a conversation.
yeah. Yeah, the platform did such a good job of emulating that context. Yeah, it was hard to, I mean, I think because we expected, a handful of people to show up, okay, easy peasy,
Yeah,
but, we had a fair number of folks show up, and so it was kind of hard to coordinate, but, I mean, it came together. I thought it was I get to meet several people who I have never met before.
yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it.
It was fun in that regard. I guess there's a learning in there for like if we do this another time, then maybe we should like have a plan, like maybe have a couple of spaces to meet in and maybe have like the topics
Nah,
for discussions or something like
plans
that,
are
or I don't
lame,
know.
Benedict. Lame. No, I'm
Okay,
kidding.
okay, we're not doing this.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, it was fun. Like even though it was a bit of a mess, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was messy. It was messy to organize or to bring some organization in, but it was fun. Thanks everybody for who showed up.
So yeah, what else is new with you this week?
Well, let's see. Well, so last week, I think one of the last things I said was, so I doubt that we will have the game in a good enough place to get a prototype in my hands before we leave, a physical prototype rather. Um, but in fact, on Monday we ordered a physical prototype. So,
Yay!
because I mean, what we ended up just kind of looking at all the components and all of the things that we would need to get printed for it to be fully complete prototype, and we realized this little section over here, we can just print that out on our home printers. These little bits here, I mean, I've got some of those pieces in a game, that's on my shelf. And we realized, the main thing keeping us from being able to test it on a physical table is how difficult it is to produce, a couple hundred playing cards with all of the description text on it and everything. We're like, okay, well, let's just get the cards and the map tiles printed. Can we do that? So we took a close look at that, and boom, it was like, okay, let's cut scope, um, and uh, and just dramatically reduced like the complexity of what the first physical prototype will look like. So ordered it from this service called the Game Crafter, thegamecrafter.com, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but, basically, they specialize in these sort of, extremely short run, printouts. They've got all these stock components, and, you upload your artwork in a specific size, um, and it's pricey. And I think like each of our we Graham and I each ordered one, and I think it was $60 each. And so, it's expensive to get a single one, but the value for getting that first one in your hands is just huge.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, that was I am so excited. I cannot wait.
yeah. Like
Can't wait.
sounds like the right investment in terms of just thinking about printing a couple hundred playing cards.
Yeah, right.
Like if you like take your hourly rate into account, like 60
Yeah,
dollars a piece is a steal.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a steal. Um, and, yeah, and now that we understand the process, you know, if we play through it, a handful of times over the next after we get them in our hands and need to reorder certain cards, it'll be extremely easy to just replace an ad and, all that sort of thing. So they say that they'll ship on April 9th. Um, and then they have all these caveats for the amount of time delivery takes. So I have no expectations on when it will actually arrive. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited about that. The other thing, the other thing that we're starting to look at is creating like a marketing landing page. Um, and so, because I had somebody recently, you know, offer to make an intro to a game publisher, and they were like, "You have any sort of landing page? Do you have any sort of materials or anything?" It was like, I mean, I have this thread over here on the Board Game Geek forum, and it just immediately felt like, ooh, yeah, this is not going to present as well as it could.
Yeah.
And so we are yeah, to kind of get that ready, we're researching and reaching out to some artists to just get some pricing quotes on you know how much would it be to have five sample cards done, two or three sample map tiles, and maybe like one large background uh, piece of artwork, just to help to get the landing page and some of the marketing materials to look serious, and look communicate the vision basically
Yeah.
of where this could go. So that's what we're taking steps on that uh, as we speak. So
That's pretty cool.
I'm
Just
pretty
thinking
excited.
that, um, I have a feeling that like designing for board games or even like board game marketing landing pages is an entirely different skill set than designing for SaaS applications. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Well, um, I don't know if I would totally. I think once again, there's quite a lot of overlap in the sense of, um, I mean, what your the landing page for your SaaS app is like, let me show you how we're going to make you a badass. This is about you, and these are the things that we're going to that you're going to love about using this. And then with the board game, like, this is who you get to pretend to be, and this is how you get to be a badass, and this is what the game's going to throw at you, and here's how you're going to overcome it. Interested in learning more. So, I mean, I think it'll I I think it I would I think it might kind of follow a similar flow as like your a standard SaaS landing page, but we'll see. I mean, I say that now, and I could be completely wrong because I've never designed a landing page for a board game before.
Yeah, I guess another new thing to learn,
Yeah,
which is kind of
yeah,
exciting. Like
yeah,
learning new
yeah,
things, that's part of the fun.
yep, yeah. A brand new thing, but pulling in the experience from startup world, web development. So yeah, hopefully within just the next week or two, probably. I mean, yeah, probably even just realistically 2 or 3 weeks, have some have a couple of example pieces of artwork
Nice.
to share. That would be really,
Yeah.
really, really exciting.
I can totally imagine that. I feel like this is like the step to the real thing. Like it
Yeah,
will hopefully almost feel like the real thing at that point.
yeah, yeah. Because we'll be able to see, is this style, this artist style match, and get 5 cards done at X number of dollars, so that we can say, okay, to get the whole game done, it's going to be, 3,200 US. So that means, how many, like, what does our, if we end up doing a Kickstarter campaign, this is what the funding goal needs to be, has to include that, et cetera, et cetera. But, for me, even more ideally, it just makes it look more appealing and put together for a publisher to say, hey, why don't we just take this off your hands? Like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And keep us involved throughout the whole process so that we can learn about, design development, manufacturing, fulfillment, all that, but on somebody else's dime and expertise, more on their expertise than their
We
dime,
skip
obviously.
we skipped over this a little bit, but like, I mean, just like being in touch with a publisher is. Are you already in touch with them, or are you just still talking about
No,
getting an intro?
yeah, just still
Oh,
talking
okay.
about getting an intro. I haven't heard from the publisher yet, so I'm not sure if they aren't interested or not. But I mean, that it's the first. It will be the first one of what I hope to be, dozens of, or publishers that we reach out to and ask for a meeting to pitch it. Um, so but we'll see. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't think it's that far away. In all honesty, but meaning, yeah, I don't think it's months away. I don't think it's weeks either. But so
You're
we'll
getting
see.
closer.
Yeah,
That's for
yeah,
sure.
getting closer.
Awesome.
Let's see what yeah, other big projects, just year on the road stuff. I added some side cameras to the, trailer last night, which really cool, like the reflectors, the reflecting lights on the sides, I was able to pull those out, and they make a product that's basically that same marker light, that reflector light, but it includes a camera that I can connect to a monitor inside of the truck. And so
Mm.
if I wanna look at the left or right side of what's next to the trailer, I can switch to that camera. And so I've got the mirrors on the truck and these actual cameras, so that just feels 1,000 times better. And there are a couple of other cameras that I'm gonna put on there's another camera I'm gonna put on the back of the trailer, one I'm gonna put, like, wire up to the front of the truck, just more 360-degree visibility
Yeah.
at all times is what I'm after, so
I think that will help a lot.
that'll help quite a lot. So, we're, like, fully renovating the interior, of the trailer as well,
Was
like,
that the initial plan, or did that
yeah,
just happen
well,
like the stuff
ye
happens?
ye it was the initial plan. I mean,
Okay, good.
the very first ever initial plan was, "Ugh, let's not do that." But meaning as in, like, a year ago. And then within the last several months, before we bought the trailer, it was, "Yeah, let's renovate it. It'll feel more like home. If we update it and improve it, then we'll probably be able to sell it for more than we bought it for, anyway. So whatever depreciation we take on the truck, we'll probably make up for, when we sell the trailer." So it's a win-win. It'll feel more comfy to us
Yeah,
while we're out, and it'll make it easier to sell when we get home.
that sounds like
Um,
a solid plan.
yeah, but so I can't wait to share before and after, photos, but, um, yeah, that's what's happening. Consulting projects are going great. Um, yeah, it's good.
Nice.
It is
Did you
all
have a
good.
chance to actually drive the thing, like truck and trailer?
Still not yet. I have not, but because we've been renovating it,
Sure, yeah.
like, it's kind of there's stuff all over the place. Plus I didn't really wanna drive it until I had all my cameras in place, so I'm getting there.
Nice.
Mhm, yeah.
Cool. Do you think like how's the timeline looking? Like, do you think you'll get
Uh,
it done in time? Well, you
no.
don't really have a choice, right?
We we don't have a choice, and
Kinda in a
so
similar
we
boat with this.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the short answer is, yeah, we are gonna hit the road on May 31st. I don't know what the packing up of the house, how organized and how much cleaning out we'll get a chance to do. It might just end up being a lot of just throw everything in a box, shove it in the corner of storage, and we'll deal with it when we get back. Um, that's less ideal than, hey, let's take this opportunity to clean things out and simplify.
Yeah,
I doubt that will happen. We're really going to be up against it, but it's all good. All good.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
making progress on all fronts, I guess. So
all
that's pretty cool.
fronts. Yeah. Yeah, and so wait, and so, I mean, we're gonna stop recording, and I'm gonna basically publish this right away. I wasn't able to meet yesterday because I had client interviews. I've got so I had Lego who's in Denmark, and then I got another client right after that's in Sweden.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, I can work these hours." So, that it's 8 a.m. my time right now, but this is my third back-to-back call of the day because I had calls at 6 and 7
Wow.
a.m. with this client's customers over in Sweden. But um, it, all to say, what's kind of cool about that is, by the time noon comes around, I feel like I've pretty much put in a full day's of full day's of work.
Yeah, that's the upside.
Um, so yeah, that's all I've got. I think I'm just gonna hit publish on this just about right away. So
Yeah.
listener, you'll be hearing this pretty fresh. Anything else
Nice.
for you?
No, that's about it. I
Okay.
probably going
Man.
to sleep now, and then I don't know.
Yeah, good luck with the man. Sorry about the lease, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Talk next week. Yeah. Bye.
Later.